Huh. So, so this is a treat. I've been trying to get you on the show for how long?
Since I needed to lose weight.
Since that's what the initial problem was. The weight. He was like, I gotta lose weight. I'm not coming on your show till you lose weight. So,
I'm pageant fine now.
oh, I got you right.
I'm getting ready for my competition now. So
2 months, right? No, next month, right?
well, that's Miss American Teenager. So that's the pageant that I'm an investor in.
Mhm.
That's next month. But yeah, I had to lose weight for that too because I got a photo shoot I got to do there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be on the stage and doing some things. So I lost some weight for that. And then my own pageant that I'm competing in, which is Miss American Elegance, that's in November.
Okay. So
And I got
November.
another 10 pounds I gotta lose for that. But
Okay. So
I feel like I'm ready to be in front of the screen now.
working. Got the headphones on, doing rocket music and everything. The montage in your head, working it out.
Yep.
But anyway, it's been so long. Like I've been referenced you so much during podcasts for the last 2 years, and people be like, "That fool crazy. He don't know nobody named Dr. Toy. He ain't a real person." Every time he turn around, oh yeah, me and Dr. Toy was talking about this. Me and Dr. Toy was talking about that. Yeah. And they probably think I'm crazy as fuck. So now, hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
Dr. Toy right there. Look right there. That's Dr. Toy. See?
Yep.
She's a real person. I'm not crazy. Thank you. But anyway, we came up with something. You had hit me up. Was like, you missed one of the shows I was doing. I'm like, well, somebody was having problems with their schedule.
Yeah.
This is how we get to this point here. And you haven't seen the intro, so I'm gonna go ahead and run the intro. We're gonna come back.
Okay, cool.
All right. I was about to say I'm about to cut that in off. It took a long time to get to us. It's supposed to be flush and then bam. So
I love that though. I love the intro.
thank you. I was working
Yeah.
I came because I was trying to come up with the words. I'm like, I gotta say something in it because there's too much dead open space. I'm like, went to sleep, woke back up, went to sleep, woke back up, and then just hit me. I'm like, all right, let me start. So that was down to the wire on that one.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it really captures my own personal reasons for why I'm always on my social media page talking about relationship stuff. I know like the market is oversaturated with discussions about relationships, but I don't think we can rebuild the Black family unit without talking about relationships because there's just so much hurt and pain between Black men and Black women. And we've been taking it out on each other forever, like forever. And we don't know how to move past that. So I really like the intro in terms of it talking about both Black men and Black women want love because we do. And there's a large number of us, just like in other cultures and other races, where we want to be in love with each other. But it's so much trauma that we don't know how to get to it.
I think that we have trauma as far as personal trauma, interpersonal trauma, but we have extenuating circumstances that we don't control, never control. Like, so I think that's the biggest issue that people don't get. Like, I was of a mind of, women are doing this, they're doing it on purpose, this, that, the other, and at some point, as much as I start researching, looking at stuff and listening to different people and then reading other stuff, going back and reading and then going to history books and looking at what happened through history, from slavery on, I came to the grasp that, this is not a man or woman issue, like my issue or your issue singularly. It's a systematic thing, it's like one of nature versus nurture things, the environment is why we are where we are right now. And, I can't fault a woman for being, living in this environment and not having, having a certain outlook on life, a certain outlook on women, a certain outlook on love and all that stuff, because it's an environment. Black women didn't, they didn't make this, they didn't create this. A lot of black men are angry for black women for certain things that happen, but they didn't create it. They went along with the program, the easiest route, and and then black women went along with the quote status quo or whatever of what black men, they were told that black men were, black men did this, black men did that, so they're mad at black men. And if you have bad information, you're gonna react on it. So that's where we're
you're gonna make bad decisions from that bad information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I sent you a video, and what the title of this is, women see qualifiers, men see quantifiers. So I'm gonna where I get this from, right? The title is that oftentimes when women look for men, they seek something that qualifies that man. Stats, they have certain stats. He has to have a good job. He has to be 6 feet. He has to, make this money. He has to, drive a certain kind of car. He wants to be, status, certain type of man. And the man is for seeking quantifiers. So the quantifier is, if she's a baddie, 10, we put numbers on women, she a dime, whatever. So we seeking I guess the top level woman we visually, that we can see as possible. And it's almost the same, but it's different, I think women have it way much harder. I always say this. I think I've said this way back when we was working together. I think that too. Like, women have it way more hard than dating because y'all don't settle for nothing. It's like, oh, this is what I want, and if it ain't that, okay, I don't see this dude.
I don't want it.
Exactly. I don't want it. Exactly. And dudes really don't do that. It's like, okay, yeah, I want this, but this will do. So tend to find, and I don't know, I mean, it can turn to love. Everything can turn to love, and that's why I say it's easy to find. You might, somebody that you might give a shot, and not saying to give a shot, but somebody you might get with, seeing they're a good person, you might give them a chance. It's like, okay, let me try this person out, and you end up growing to love that person. I think it happens more with men because we, whatever's in our reach at that time, we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
And women more like won't. So I think that's the difference between men and women.
Yeah. Both of those things though have kind of kept us standing still. Because men will do that. Men will say, well, what I want is a 10, but for right now, what I can get is a 5. So I'm going to get with this 5, and I'm going to stay with this 5 until I can get a 7. Then I'm going to get with that 7, and I'm going to stay with that 7 until I can get with that 10. But along the way of getting up to the 10, because he's not fully present in that relationship and he's not giving it his all, because he's planning to give his all to the 10, he's creating some bitter women. He's creating some bitter women along the way.
And I think sometimes they do give it all, but what ends up happening is that he'll cheat if he gets to the next one, because he knows that's not what he wants. So he's more susceptible to cheating when he gets somebody of a certain stature, that fits that aesthetic value that he's looking for. So he's easier to cheat in that aspect. Where, like I said, qualifiers, if she gets that qualifier, then, she'll probably leave him for that qualifier.
Right.
So,
but here's the problem. The thing about it when in terms of women. So women, we already said, don't like to settle.
mm-hmm.
So a lot of times what women will do is, well, here's this 5, no, I don't want you. Here's the 7, no, I don't want you. Here's the 9, no, I don't want you. Here's the 10, okay, I want you.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, she's rejected so many guys that now we got a lot of bitter men out here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bitterness.
And that's the whole thing. Both ends, you have the same thing. It plays out the same way. You have the same outcomes, but it's kind of different interactions, but the same outcome.
Yep, same outcome. Like, in a lot of these situations, most of these people didn't get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the reality of the situation is that guy might have wanted that woman that was a 10, but that 10 is also still hard for him to obtain, even though he has a bigger pool to fish in. Because there just aren't a lot of 10s.
Yeah, no.
There are not a lot of 10 women, and there are not a lot of 10 men.
Sorry about that. Now, yeah, that's and that's perfection. And you're looking for perfection, aesthetically perfection, then you got to deal with the whole personality part of it, and everything else with it. So it's like you can be going up aesthetically and then going down in other and then now you're still not happy. So it makes it hard as far as with the love aspect. You find yourself, oh, I got this, but now I'm even more unhappy.
Yeah, I'm unhappy because that 10. I always say this to people. 10s usually have bad personalities. They typically do. And I'm not even saying that from like my own personal experiences. In my personal experiences, I find that 10s tend to have terrible attitudes. But I mean, if you read sociology data, you're more likely to find personality disordered people within the 10 range. And so when you find a personality disorder like the narcissist, the antisocial, the borderline, when you find that in a 5 and 6, more often than not, it's due to some form of profound trauma, right? Trauma creates personality disorders. It creates selfishness. It creates self-centeredness. It creates lack of empathy. It creates emotional instability. But you can find 10s who came from perfectly healthy household, 2 parents, household, loving parents. But because they were a 10 and have lived in this world as a 10, and people have like just pulled out the red carpet for them most of their life, they develop the self-centeredness and the selfishness and the lack of empathy just out of them having always lived their life as a 10. And people just did tricks and flips for them.
So I'm gonna actually talk about what you just said Tuesday. This Tuesday I'm gonna talk about this, the whole narcissism thing, because people talk around. But what I call it is the power unchecked thing. That's what it is. And when you have power unchecked, you're gonna become corrupt. So the thing is the pretty privilege, the beautiful is power unchecked. They don't have to work for anything. And I think I think it's showing up in our society right now, not only just in 10s, because the thing is we have women empowerment. We also, you're a queen, sis, you're this, you're a boss, you're a diva, this, that, other. All these over and it's not even, I mean, it's false. I mean, a lot of it is false. A lot of it's fictitious. You got people going to get BBLs and I'm right? Women are changing when they have a certain outfit on, their makeup on, whatever. They'll change their whole image based on what they have on. So, it creates something. I mean, I don't know if it's per se narcissism per se, but it creates something. It's an overinflated sense of ego.
Yeah.
And it mirrors maybe. It's not totally narcissism, but it mirrors it.
Yeah. It's what I tend to call the profile of the narcissist,
Mhm.
or the profile or of the antisocial, or the profile of the borderline. So I wouldn't necessarily say that you have a personality disorder, but you have a similar kind of picture to it. You have a similar image that's paralleling it.
Mhm. It might be certifiable, but it's mirror.
Yeah,
Look, even the narcissists think you narcissists.
right.
So, and I mean, and that's part of the environment I was talking about. A lot of guys are mad at women because of this whole thing, and we're gonna get down in the video because it actually talks about body positivity, and that's, I think, is a big part of that situation that we're talking about.
Right.
But guys they're tired of it. It's like, okay, you gonna tell me I don't see what I see, but I can't say what I see, and I can't be honest, and
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
a crazy time right now.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. Let's start the video. I think I cut it up. I kind of chopped it up because that's a long video, and I have no way to. So I think I got 5 or 6 different. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 or 6 different ones out of it. Because it's too long. I just went through the first part of it. We might come back next week and we'll do some more parts of it. But
Okay.
let me go ahead on.
I mean, it's 1,000 times over. Even if we're just speaking of like a beauty influencer that I watch, she was talking about the difference between when she goes out with her natural hair versus long weave and the different approaches that she gets from each interaction. She's less likely to be approached when her natural hair is out versus when she's got hair down to her ass and it's a different color. It's the small things like that make it harder for women, I feel like, to believe that you aren't acting like a peacock.
Well, I mean, the question is, the question would then be like, what kind of men does she attract? So she attracts less men with natural hair, but what kind and caliber of men are those? And then she attracts more men with this long, slick hair. What kind of caliber of men are those?
Okay, so
Yeah.
well, so to that part, go ahead. Speak to that part about the natural hair. So whatever you experience.
So personally, what she said is accurate. I know. So as a person that's never had a perm, right? My hair has always been natural. So if I wore my natural hair, I got a lot of less attention from guys, like significantly less attention from guys wearing natural hair. Now, back before I started, so I think I started getting more into like froze and things like that somewhere around 25, 26, right? But prior to that, I would do a lot of braids and I would do a lot of weaves. Anything that looked a little closer to straight, fine Alabama straight kind of hair did significantly, it did get a lot more attention for me. But I pointed out my age for a reason, and that's because I'm 42 now. Back when I was 25, I think that was closer with that time. That time, people like that jet straight, very white looking kind of hair, and they wanted it long. I feel like though at 42, we're starting to move away from that in this culture, and you see a lot more women embracing natural hair, and you see a lot more men standing up for natural hair. So a part of it, I think, is just that times have changed. And so you're going to have more opportunities to be natural than what you had 20 years ago. What I will say is now, do I get less attention with my natural hair than like the weaves that I had before? I don't think so. I think the difference is the length of the hair. So what I've noticed is if my locks are shorter,
Mm-hmm.
I get less attention with shorter locks. So when I cut my hair, I get lesser attention.
Mm-hmm.
When my locks grow out, I get more attention. And so what I realized, it's not necessarily a natural hair versus weaves. It's more of the length of the hair that the guy likes.
Mm-hmm.
He likes longer hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense to me because when my hair is shorter, I can honestly look at myself and go, I look a little more boyish with shorter hair
Exactly.
than what I do
Yeah.
when I have longer hair. When I have longer hair, I can tell that I look more feminized in the face. And so I think that's what guys are responding to, at least now.
Yeah, it's the whole
Not all of them.
femininity of it. It's the whole femininity of it. You look more feminine, so I'm more attracted to you because of that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely that. I mean, women tend to get, well, I got she got, when I had natural hair, this, you know, if you have shorter natural hair, then yeah, you didn't get that. But I know women that have rocked like big old fros, and dudes love that. Be like, oh shit, you know, look at her hair, you know, just commanding, you know, attention, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like some people like to say, well, you know, it says it's healthy and all that. I don't know if dudes get that, you know, real deep into it, but it just, you know, it's just feminine. You know, think about everything that growing up. Once again, we was talking about socializing and everything. You know, you seen certain people on TV and they had long hair. You seen the, you know, the stars, the leading ladies, long hair. You know, they had flawless. Basically, it looked flawless, and it was like, oh, that's beautiful. So
yeah,
you gravitate to whatever you were taught growing up a lot of times also.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot, I don't want to say, I want to be careful with my words because I know that everyone's experience is valid and we're speaking out of our own experiences. But I think when it comes to the whole natural hair versus unnatural hair thing, a lot of people are still, they're not seeing the shift in the culture, and they're not able to see the shift in the culture because they are stuck 20 years ago when you could have worn any type of natural hair. Because I remember being in my early 20s, there'd be women that were very pretty walking around with natural hair. Their hair is long, natural long locks, but guys weren't really checking for that back then. They did want to see the long weave down to the butt.
I think the reason why, because I think men have a certain idea of locks. You know, well, back in the day. Back in the day, it was like, okay, she's that earthy type. She don't like she wasn't checking for dudes like me. She wanted dudes with dreads, you know, the earthy type dude. You know, the one that be doing poetry and everything. You know, that's what she wanted. You know, it's just the whole idea of it. It was like, okay, I'm not even gonna talk to her. It's not that she wasn't attractive. It's just that, you know, I don't think she's checking for me. You know, she's a certain type. So I think that goes with too our whole perception of what she might like. Like I've heard women have told me, "Oh, you look like you like white women." I'm like, how do you get that shit? You know? I mean, and I've heard this from several women, but it's because I don't act the same way. Like I don't be acting like niggas. I don't be sagging my pants and all this other stuff. You know, I don't be in the hood doing hood stuff. So it's like, okay, you act like you like white. Okay, whatever. All right, cool. But you know, it's just the perception people have, and they'll, especially guys, they'll approach based on that perception, and women are perceptive based on that perception.
Yeah, I agree. Because yeah, I do think 20 years ago, when you thought about a woman with locks, you thought about like Erica Badu. That's what you thought about. You thought she was gonna be burning incense and singing neo soul.
She gonna have me crazy. Hell no, I ain't messing with no Erica. Hell no. Nope.
Yeah, so I do think, we kind of project our own stereotypes onto each other. And so the pretty girls with the long locks didn't get as much attention. And I think that's valid, that it could have been just because of the stereotype of who she was as a woman and whether she would be accepting of a certain type of man. I think that could have been it. But we also know that another valid point is we also heard those guys that would make statements like, well, you need to do something with your head. You need to straighten your hair. You need to get a perm. Like, so I think those statements too caught a lot of women off guard. Whereas you had men out here that was very interested in the women that was weaved up.
And then the crazy thing, well, you know what it is too, because obviously a lot of dudes didn't like weave, but the thing is, it's the over exaggerated stuff. Like it's the if it looks more natural, like the weave looking more natural, it's like all right, it looks nice. But when it gets like down to here and it gets just all crazy colors, dudes like well, I'm gonna say this. You have the hood dudes. You have a certain set of hood dudes that love that. Then you have the dudes that are, just cool guys, just regular guys. They don't want to be, because they don't want no woman that's going to be just over, just too much. They're going to shy away from it.
Over dramatic at the cocktail party.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you come in with your long platinum weave that's down to your shoulder blades and your cocktail dress coming around my balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Little streetwalk or something, like you strip.
Yeah. They didn't want that. They didn't want that. But though a lot of those guys did still want the weave. They didn't want it down to the butt, and they wanted it to look natural. They wanted it to look like it was coming out of your scalp. But they wanted that very straight, what I call Alabama white look.
Alabama white? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's what I call that hair from back in the day. The Alabama straight.
The Alabama straight.
Mm-hmm.
The white girl.
Mm-hmm, the white girl. They wanted the white girl hair.
I'm in charge. I'm in charge. All right, let's move to the next video. All right, hold
on. Some women who complain about these things,
power search.
They complain about it because they're not attracted to the men who they wouldn't have to complain about it with. Yeah. Like, you're not attracted to the guy who prefers your natural hair. Yeah. So, like, that's why a lot of times there's a disconnect, because it's like, I don't have success with black women and I love them in their natural hair, but she's over there in the corner complaining about Future not liking her with her natural hair. It's like, why don't you go where you're celebrated by black men? Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question. That's a good statement as well, like when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because you're right. Sometimes that guy who wants the natural hair isn't hitting on what the woman may want. But again, it goes back to pop culture and how you feel and all of this stuff, because there's so many. It's crazy that we were taught when we were this little not to judge a book by its cover, but then we do it every single day in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It is real hypocritical.
Uh-huh.
And another point that he was saying was that so what women usually do, like we were saying, men don't approach me, this, that, the other. Well, a lot of times it's men that I don't like men that I don't think is worth my time approach me. That's what they really say. Because, like I've said this a lot of times too, majority of women, when they don't feel they're prettiest, they get approached the most. When they go in the grocery store and stuff and they're hair all tied up, whatever, they never count that because they don't feel like they look a certain way. So they don't count the time they get approached. They only count when they feel like they're the best at their tip top, and they know they don't get approached by certain types of men. So it's like, men don't like me. Men don't like me when I got this.
The date within your circle, like I don't know what it is, but we don't want to date within our circle. Like we want to date. I like dating the guys that like me. So that's where there's a disconnect from me,
Mm-hmm.
because I am the woman that doesn't wear makeup. There's actually the picture that you have up there is the first time I had my makeup professionally done, and that was last week.
Wow.
Because I had to do it for an event that I was going to in terms of the pageant that I'm competing in.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time I had my makeup professionally done. I tend to date men that don't like makeup. The kind of men that I like to date are the kind of men that like me. They don't like makeup. They like women that have locks. They like the woman that has a degree. I date men that like me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I being approached constantly by guys that like me? No. Like 75% of the dudes that are walking up to me are guys that don't like me. They don't like the locks. They'll make a negative comment about my hair. They'll make certain comments about my dress attire. They'll make comments about the way that I speak. They'll make a comment about where I work. So that tells me you don't like me. And so I simply don't engage those guys. I don't exchange numbers with them. When they go, why aren't you interested in me? You don't like me, so I'm not going to waste my time here. I feel like there is a huge problem with not just women, men too, because I see men do it as well. They don't want to date within their pool. They want to date outside their pool. And somehow they want to play this chase game. That dude, I want him. He don't want me. So I'm going to try to get him to want me. Or that girl over there, she don't want me. So I'm going to try to get her to want me. As opposed to just date the guys that like you. Date the girls that like you. If you like Instagram models, but Instagram models don't like you, but the Liberian chicks like you, date the Liberian chicks. Mm-hmm. That's how this is supposed to go. Yeah. That makes life so much easier. It makes it so much easier to find somebody that's going to genuinely be interested in you. Why would you waste your time and energy chasing the person that don't want you? Future doesn't like the natural head woman. We've seen it. We've seen all the women he's been willing to date. Mm-hmm. He talks about it.
He was a certain type. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he talks about his type. So if you're not his type, why would you waste your energy trying to get him? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it validates. Same reason guys do it for different reasons. Guys, it's a number games with guys. Like they'll talk to you, this one, that, whatever. If they know if they give 100, if we talk to 100 women, they're gonna get maybe about 10, and then they go from there. But women, it's more of it's a validation thing. If I can get this hot dude, that means validates me being that woman, that one, so women, no matter what they say, seek men validation. And if out of the guy that can validate them or they can get with, they feel like, okay, I'm that chick. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, because sleep with women, no matter what caliber is, she could be on a list of a roster of 10 women and be at the bottom and just be the one that's the most fun to be around. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're hot. You know what I mean? You're, whatever. It's just that you're part of that that's that when he calls when you want to have fun with you.
Right. But even if you're at the top of that list.
Yeah, that's the
problem. You climbed your way all the way to the top and you're now his woman. Mm-hmm. Because guys will stay where they don't really want to be. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Like, so you've climbed your way from the bottom to the top. You his woman now. Y'all living together now. Y'all got some kids together now. If in his world you are the 7 and he's still looking for his 10, you are still just a placeholder.
Yeah, you're still a 7. Yeah.
you're still a 7. So you didn't actually win him. You might have thought you did, and you were able to pat yourself on the back and you were able to stroke your ego. So it goes back to that ego thing. You know, we love validation, we love trophies, we love awards, but it's not genuine.
Yeah,
It's not genuine. So did you really win?
And the other thing I say, I think women today have way bigger egos than men. Today, women have super humongous egos. And I think it's from all the stuff that we get to see in social media, the stories and everything. It's like the whole Pretty Woman thing, you know, whole Pretty Woman movie with Richard Gere or whatever. It's like women want this guy that's way up there. He's gonna come and he's gonna scoop down and get me, and I'm gonna be one now. You know, it's what they've been programming to women for forever, basically. You know, so
yeah, that the Prince Charming comes one day.
Exactly. That's what I said. I had to get to the mindset where I don't blame women for being this way, because look at all the stuff that y'all getting, you know, put in y'all heads. You know, it's a bunch of propaganda and a bunch of men, because we aren't vocal and because it's just easier to let you believe what you believe, go along just to get along, basically. You know, you know, y'all gonna feel how y'all feel, and we are the problem with that. Also, we not telling y'all the truth. You know, so. We cause our own issues, I think, a lot of time as far as men aspect.
No, you know what? I don't think it's that guys don't tell women the truth, because I think they do once they have sex. I think they just start telling the truth
After they have sex. I'm talking about before. I'm talking about
before. Right. Before, no. Before, they won't tell a woman what they're really thinking or how they feel. But I think as they start to make their exit, they become a lot more vocal when they start getting tired and they're transitioning somewhere else.
Real honest. that they're honest.
Yeah. And that at that point, though, it's too late, because we're angry now. So now I think you're just taking shots.
Yeah, exactly. You don't receive it. You're wall.
Right. I just think you're taking shots at me and you're mad, and you know, so you're just saying all kinds of stuff. And I think that works in both ways too. While they in that shot taking place, this guy is going, and you ain't really all that, and you ain't as smart as what you think you are, and da 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 da, and she's screaming, your penis is small and you're rocking bed, and and neither one of them are receiving anything, and you're a deadbeat daddy and everything else. The truth comes out when they're angry. So neither are listening to each other and are trying to grow. Neither one of them left the situation going, dang,
No.
I got some stuff I want to work on if I want to do better in my next relationship. They move on to the next relationship and repeat the same terrible behaviors because they just think, well, it was only said because he or she was mad at me.
Yeah, it becomes deflection of whatever's going on. No self-reflection, all deflection, and then you move on. And if you hear it again, start hitting again, outside of maybe the angry time, then you're like, oh, hold on. But if y'all if you get back to that point where y'all angry at each other, and you hear it, be like, okay, women always do this. This is what women do. Or this is what men do. You know, attack this and whatever, not realizing that, okay, maybe it might be me that, you know, that has the issue.
And it's usually both of them.
Yeah.
Like, when relationships come to an end, I stand my ground that both people have to hold the mirror up to themselves and say, how could I have done better? How could I have done better? That's necessary. And I think that it's beneficial to go get some help. Go talk to a life coach. Go talk to a pastor. Go talk to a therapist. I think it's important to have someone to say, what am I not seeing? What did I not look at? How can I do better the next go round so that I don't keep hopping from relationship to relationship?
And be
but
true.
People don't want to do that.
But you got to be truthful also when you talk to them, because sometimes people want validation. They're not going to say everything that they did in a situation. Oh, this person did that, and not be 100% honest about whatever, and then they don't get that either. So,
And that's why I think a professional is important. That's why I'm against let me go talk to my friends. Because your friends are going to believe your side of the story wholeheartedly, right? But a professional doesn't have to believe your story wholeheartedly. Your professional also has an idea what typical relationships look like. So they're probably going to start pointing some things out to you. Like,
or they're going to go dig a little bit too. That's the other thing.
Right. Yeah. Like, here goes some things that we typically see in relationships when they go awry. A, B, C, D. Did you see any of that? Did you see A, B, C, D at all? Who was doing that? Was it her and you? They're going to make the effort to kind of maneuver around the BS, or to maneuver around this person's fictitious story that they have in their own head, because they only see it from their side,
from their perception.
So I was having this conversation earlier this week with the guy, and I was like, it might be beneficial if you go talk to someone else. Same deal. Life partner, mentor, some kind of coach, a therapist. I don't need to go to therapy. That's not what I said. I didn't say you needed to go to therapy. I said it might be beneficial to go talk to someone else. No, because everybody don't need to go to therapy. Well, I think you're getting hung up on the word need, and I'm saying it might be beneficial, and then I'm giving you a list of people that might be able to help better. And he again expresses, I don't need to go to therapy. So in that moment, I wrapped up the conversation, and I simply said, you conduct your life in the best way that you think is going to help you. And I ended the discussion. People, for some reason, get caught up in, so how I got on him. Because the thing he said is, I can go talk to my friends. And I'm like, okay, you can. How helpful were your friends in terms of thwarting your divorce? The divorce that you're still having a lot of feelings about 7 years later.
Oh yeah. It's something still there.
How helpful were your friends in terms of thwarting that? And how helpful have they been in terms of helping you to move through these feelings left over from your divorce? Well, they've been helpful. And then he starts listing some things. Meanwhile, completely missing that, sir, you have a lot of big, intense feelings that not normal 7 years later.
7 years later, yeah. A week later, a month later, but not 7 years.
Even years later, even if it was 2 or 3 years later, but 7 years later, you still can't have a conversation without talking about your wife. Your ex-wife comes up in your conversation no less than 6 or 7 times a day.
Yeah. It's still there, deep seated. So
yeah.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people do too. They end up jumping from one thing to another too soon before it's gone,
Which was also what he described. Going from wife to one relationship, that being a terrible relationship, going from that relationship to another relationship that was a terrible relationship, and then going from that relationship to another relationship that he described as a terrible relationship. And from his standpoint, it was all the women. It was the ex-wife, then the first girlfriend after wife, then the second girlfriend after wife, then the third girlfriend after wife. Okay, I'm not even going to say that you're not meeting terrible women. Let's go with that. You are meeting terrible women. But sir, if you keep meeting terrible women,
what is it about?
Doesn't that tell you got to change something about you? I didn't say all that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What about you attracting these terrible women?
Right. I was like, I'm not gonna waste any more energy. I have a thing where if I am not collecting a coin, I'm not gonna spend too much time.
So, professional, you keep it arm's length unless it's on a professional.
Like I gave you my recommendation, you do with it what you would like, sir. Yeah.
And I think we all need to do that at some point. I mean, self-reflection in between breakups, some alone time, some healing. I mean, even at the bare minimum, right? At the bare minimum, you need to be spend at least a year. I think a year per how many years that you somebody just to get to know yourself again. Just get back to your real self. Recalibrate. That's what it is. To recalibrate. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's the next one. Hold on one sec.
The 10-year challenge. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a lot of these pictures?
Yeah.
In my experience, and maybe yours is different. 90% of girls I've seen fell off.
Yeah.
A cliff.
Yeah.
And most of the dudes I've seen have gotten better.
Yeah.
They've started. They got some swag. Their glasses are off. Their beards connect now. And you're hearing about a lot of hey big head DMs by the girl who was the baddie back in high school. Like, what's going on? What's the deal with that?
Well, again, we talked about the romanticizing. I feel like sometimes for women, after they've gotten, like you said, when you get to the ring, when you get to the wedding, you've won. And then I feel like for a lot of women, that's it. We start having kids and I just look how I look and you better accept it. I really have seen that happen before. You see women all the time with short hair and they just don't wear bras and they just look however. And I think sometimes that happens because, like you said, they've reached their top level of what they think is right. As opposed to men, I feel like I don't really know the answer for that part, but I feel like I can speak to women who have either lost themselves because they've reached their highest level or they've accomplished what they wanted and they've gotten what they wanted and they're comfortable. Because if we're going to unpack that too, being comfortable in a relationship will have you out here fucked up.
So what the initial thing, I think it cut it off, but he was talking about the 10-year challenge. That's the initial. Talking about how the 10-year challenge, you see pictures of women, and then the one next to it is like fell off. You see that a lot when you go to the 10-year reunions, 20-year reunions. You be like, oh man, I used to have a crush on you. Yeah. Oh, so what's up? Yeah. I don't have a crush on you no more. So I mean, it's you wait until now. You're not at your top of your game, and now you want to be like, okay, let me get at you, as a woman, and men tend to look down on that. They tend to look down on it. Like, nah, be like Mike Jones. Back then you didn't want me, now I'm hot y'all on. So, you experienced that with the men? Do they see that the same thing?
When 50 Cent did the Super Bowl, you know how many people, men at that, got on and was talking about his weight gain. Zay, he didn't gain weight. So first, 50 Cent is still fine. Like, yeah, he looked like he's a good 40 pounds heavier, but he still looks solid. And he could still do that lift up thing. He could still do that. I think sometimes people see any form of a change, like any form of a change. And they want to talk. They see the change and they want to talk about it. Like, people are going to naturally gain weight over time. That's just the way it's going to work. People are going to naturally gain over time.
Yeah.
And so none of us really look the way that we looked 10 years ago. Most of us don't.
Mm-hmm.
But to get more specifically to what he was talking about and what she was talking about, where you just completely let yourself go, I do think that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there is, you naturally gain weight over time and you naturally try to keep it together over time. You watch what you eat, you move more, you work out more. You're still going to probably gain weight and not look the same, but you can tell that there was some effort put into your appearance.
Mm-hmm.
But then I do think that you have those people that really fell off. And I do think I see that more so among the female gender, where it is like, I got the ring, I got the man, I have the kids, and I can use these kids as my rationale for why I don't have to put in the effort anymore.
And the crazy thing about that, and this what men complain about, when you with somebody, with the woman, right, and she's doing, like you said, she's fell off, right, during the course of relationship. Now, a man might say something about it. He might not. He might just, he might just say, okay, that's my woman, I love her, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they split up. This one will go out there and she'll change. She'll go to the gym. She'll hit it hard. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you had this,
why didn't you do that while we were together?
If you had effort during a relationship, it might not have ended, but people get complacent. Women with everything, and men usually with effort, as far as being romantic with the woman or whatever. But it's the crazy thing. It's like the joke among the men. It's like, okay, women wait till they they leave, and they want to be all in the gym and try to get fine and everything.
They do. I do think that there's a certain amount of complacency that we're not just seeing. I heard my mother generation talk about this. I heard my grandmother generation talk about this. I heard my great grandmother generation talk about this, where there is a certain amount of complacency for women where once they get who they want, they don't keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep it up. And granted, no one's saying you got to keep it up perfectly. So I want to be very clear in emphasizing that. No one's saying that you can't gain weight. Because like I said, we're all going to naturally gain like 40, 50 pounds. But don't just let it all go. Don't just let it all go. Yeah, you have children. Yes, your body changed with children. No, you're probably not going to get your pre-baby body back. That's probably not going to happen for most women. And you can still put in some effort to try to keep your appearance up and just not let it all fall apart. And I feel like that's more so what guys are complaining about. You just let it all fall apart. Whereas your husband probably gained the same 40, 50 pounds, but he also probably still went out and played basketball with his homeboys. And that kept up some sort of cardio. And that kept up some sort of core strength. So he might have a belly. Now, that's there. But there's a certain amount of stuff that's intact and in place and is not just falling all over the place and falling down. And I think that's where the different lines. Yeah. And then when you do, the relationship is over and the women then go get in the gym and they lose weight and they get fine so that they can get the next man, which is why do this to attract the next man? Why not do this for the man that was in your house raising your kids and helping pay bills and loving you? Why not do it for him?
And also the woman doesn't understand. There's going to be a point there's a point to where if you get, let's say 50, if you get to 50 and you not you didn't got rid of a relationship because of whatever. Now you want to try. It's going to be harder. The older you get, the harder it is to not only get your body back, but also to get somebody, that's going to want to be with you for that lifetime. So, being you have to be very mindful when you start making these moves that you need to be putting just as much effort in. Both parties have to be labor. That's part of labor. The labor of love. You have to put that on yourself. Men are visual creatures. Women didn't men are visual creatures. So that's part of the work. Women are emotional creatures. So you need to do things that's going to spark that emotion in her. Make her feel special.
Or just it's not even always the whole my body change thing. So when I say appearance, I'm not even always talking about like keeping your body a certain way. It's still a packaging, like you walking around the house in a cute outfit that looks good on you for that body that you have in that moment. Like, Brianna got lots of really cute outfits that she makes for women that are for a woman that has a post baby body. It's still making that effort to keep your appearance up. I know a lot of women who they will walk around the house with the bonnet, the curlers in their head, an old t-shirt, old underwear, old socks. And then when she's about to go out with her friends, she gets all super dolled up and then looks fire walking out the door away from her man.
Like, what the I don't get that.
And that's a common thing. And it's like, if you're putting that much effort into going out for the girls' night, put that effort in while you're in the house. Be dolled up in the house. Make sure your hair is curled. Make sure your makeup is on if you wear makeup. Make sure a cute outfit is on if you're walking around your house. Like, put the effort in. I think that goes a long way for men. But women don't necessarily think about that. They just think, I'm in the house, so I'm going to put on my jammies.
No, he can see me this way already. It don't matter. At that point, once he's seen you outside, you lock him down. Oh, the ring on my finger. We had some kids. Oh, I ain't doing all this work for him. Now, they won't do it for themselves. And that's the bad part, because you're talking about two people. You're talking about a couple. You should still be trying to do stuff for the other person, not just for yourself.
Yeah. And what you did to get the person matters. Like, what you did to get me, I want you to keep that up. So if you went to the barbershop every week to get a fresh haircut, I want you to keep doing that every week while we're in our relationship. If you put the effort into picking out stylish clothes so that the package looked good when you were trying to court me, I want you to continue to do that. I want those things to remain the same. There's no reason for those things to change, because they don't change when you go hang out with your friends. You're in the habit of keeping that going when you go out with your friends.
Consistency on both parts, on both sides. Okay, the next one is about the body positivity. We was just talking about that. Body positivity in women. Oh, okay, hold on. Here we go.
Going back to when I was saying, like, you can't tell women shit these days. It kind of ties into love me as I am, and it doesn't matter how I look, whatever. A big thing right now is body positivity. A lot of men are sick of it. They're tired of it. They feel like women are offering us bullshit on a plate and expecting us to eat it like it's a 5-star meal.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. What's going on?
Body positivity, that term can turn into such a toxic behavior so quickly that I don't think we're realizing it. Yes, I should be positive about my stretch marks and my rolls and my whatever, but also, am I being healthy about it? Because that's what you mean. That's why they're sick of it, because they're just like, I look like this. I don't need to fix it. You need to love me regardless. And that's not the case. Because even now, like in my personal experience, I'm like, how did you get here? And I feel like sometimes people in general get to this spot of like, holy shit, I'm huge now. But this is body positivity because whoever named celebrity, insert celebrity name, says that they look like this and it's okay for me to look like this. And I feel like sometimes body positivity just is, one, it can be a good way to connect the community of people who need to be connected, because as women, there's a lot of pressures to look a certain way and to be a certain way and to be perfect and slim and no cellulite, but also it creates unhealthy habits, and it also takes away accountability, which I know is why sometimes men get tired of it, because it's like you're not even holding yourself accountable anymore for taking care of yourself.
So what you think about that?
I think it piggybacks off what I was saying earlier, that I'm it's kind of hard to explain, and I don't know if I was clear earlier. It's not necessarily you looking in the mirror at your body and going, well, I got to fix my stomach. I got to get a tummy tuck. I got these stretch marks. I have to go have these lasered off. It's not that. Like, I'm going to insert a star. So Lizzo. Mm-hmm. To me, Lizzo is a woman who is heavier and she's sexy. And that's what I'm meaning to go towards. Women moving towards being sexy. She's sexy. She's heavy. She has fat in places. She has cellulite in places. And yet she looks good. She looks, when I've seen her in lingerie, she looked good in that lingerie. When I see her in her dress and her heels, she looks good in her dress and her heels. For me, body positivity.
Okay, when she had her ass out, when she's half naked?
No, not when she had her butt out.
Okay, what the hell? No.
No, I'm talking about when she modeled for Rihanna. During the, Rihanna does those lingerie fashion shows and things. She looked good in her outfit. That's what I'm talking about when I say we have to want to keep it up. Lizzo also keeps her body up. Is she trying to keep her body up where she looks like Cardi B? No. But she's keeping up her body in a place where it's together and where she can look very good in her outfits and things. There's a such thing as being heavy. Mm-hmm. There's a such thing as being overweight. Mm-hmm. But there's also a such thing as just letting yourself go. And I'm trying not to use the word that I hear people use all the time because I think it's mean. But the word is sloppy.
Okay, yeah, that's a word you missed.
The word is sloppy. And I think that's such a mean word, but it captures what it is I'm trying to explain.
I don't think it's mean. We need to stop saying, okay, this is mean when it's the truth. I mean, I think this is a lot of reason why we have so much delusion in our culture. It's like we used to tell the truth. And if somebody got the hardcore truth, they're like, oh, I think I need to do something. Now this whole body positivity, which, correct me if I'm wrong, this is my take on body positivity. I'm supposed to see myself and love myself where I'm at, not expect other people to love me where I'm at and expect other people to feel a certain way about me in society. It's a total delusional way of thinking of it. Yes, everybody should love you should love your body. You should love whatever person you are, but body positivity, as far as what Lizzo does a lot, go out half naked or fully naked almost, and then say, "Oh, I'm preaching body positive." No, damn it, you're half naked and you attacking people's senses. That's what you're doing. You damn eye attack. That's what I'm gonna have to make a term of that. Visual attacking. That's what you're doing. Visually attacking me. I don't want to see that.
Well, I think what she does, or what she has done, and I think she's calmed it down, is I think she tried to force it on people.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to force it, and I think anytime when you're trying to force anything in any type of a situation, people are going to have a negative reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whole situation where she was at the ball game and her jeans, the back was out on her clothes.
Oh, ass out.
I do think that was over the top, and for me, that's not an example of body positivity. Well, I will also then say that her modeling in Rihanna's lingerie for her fashion show, that was body positivity.
That was acceptable. You're in a place modeling something, and your proper attire where you were at. I can't remember where she was next. She just had a little sheer thing on. I can't remember where she was at. She went to something. I want to say Met Gala or something like that. I can't remember what it was. She went somewhere almost booty butt naked, just all out. I'm like, what the? Body positivity.
Yeah.
No.
So I think I agree with the young lady in the video where it's the concept of what it is, like, it's just subjective. So body positivity is based on how I feel. So if it's based on how I feel and I feel positive about my body and I feel positive enough to just show it in any arena, then yeah, that's body positivity. So
But you
I
can't.
do think though that we have to take a harder look at it based on where we really truly want to head in society, because even though I think Lizzo is sexy and she keeps herself up, and you could tell that from watching her shows, the way she moves across that stage with all that energy and the dancing,
No,
the
she's
girl is in shape.
for her size, she's very energetic. So yeah, I agree.
The girl is in shape. Like, that's somebody that you can look at. You can tell she works out every single day. And no, she's not working out to look like a model, but she's working out to keep her up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think women should do. They should be working out to keep themselves up, and to make sure that they're keeping everything in place. Their core is straight. Their leg game is straight. Their arm game is straight. You can move. Your cardio is straight. That's what I love about her. That's the positive part that I like about her. But do I think that at times she's outlandish? Yes. She's outlandish. She
got a boyfriend.
attempts to force.
So I don't have no right now. She has a boyfriend, so I hope they stay together for a long time. I don't want to see no more of her naked ass out in public. It disturbs me.
Yeah, and then that's the other part of this issue, because people will get their concept of what body positivity is from another person and not really search within themselves. I watched an interview where she said she didn't choose to wear that outfit. Her team told her to wear that outfit. She
stop listening.
Yeah, so the one to the basketball game with her butt out. Her team told her to wear that outfit. Her stylist is who picked out that outfit for her. But I also think that's why we have to be careful when we listening to other people, because other people will project onto us what our idea of body positivity is. But that's something that's supposed to be internal and that comes from us, not somebody else, like you were saying earlier. And so I think she just went in the wrong direction listening to somebody else tell her what that was supposed to be.
My other problem with that is that you're going to have young girls like coming up along behind you doing things that just because Lizzo didn't got away with it, or they were supporting Lizzo, and now I could be half-ass naked out in the street. And look, like you said, society. What's going to happen to society when we have that message come across?
Mm-hmm.
So,
no,
it's a slippery slope.
It is. But there are a lot of things going on in society when it comes to bodies and clothing. That's a slippery slope. We are just moving so far away from health. Like we're not focused on what's healthy.
Only what looks good. Instagram.
Yeah, only what looks good. We're not focused on what's healthy. You got heavy women out here that don't look like an Instagram model, but they're healthy. And for me, that works. Mm-hmm. And then you got Instagram models out here. They look like a model. They look the way that they're supposed to look, but they're not healthy. So to me, that's not body positivity either. Like anything that centers around somebody not being healthy for me means you're not being positive about your body. Body positivity to me implies that whatever I'm doing with my body is leading me in a direction of a healthy life.
Healthier lifestyle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm not anti-surgeries. Mm-hmm. I'm not anti-surgeries. But when the surgeries you are having are dangerous, mm-hmm. that's not okay. To me, that's not body positivity. When you are flying over to Colombia to have a BBL because a doctor in the U.S. or a couple of them told you weren't a good candidate here, that's not healthy. I don't care about what you look on the outside. Yeah. On the inside, it ain't working.
I agree. So the next clip of the video, body positive, I named it body positivity is only for women. So
I think the other problem that men have with it is it's very one-sided.
Oh, definitely. Because I can look like that, but you can't look like that.
Or you can't be short, or you can't have a little dick, or you can't have a light voice, or you can't, so I can still... Your beard got to connect, mm-hmm. but I can be 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So, wait, what do women need to do? What do men need to do?
In terms of body positivity?
Yeah.
Whew. So women, again, I feel like a lot of what our standards today are based off of these artificial people that belong on social media or that are from social media, because that's where a lot of, I feel like the idealisms of what you're supposed to be and what your partner is supposed to be come from. So one, get off social media, go look at normal people because that'll help you. As women, probably just accept the fact of your type may not be who's right for you. I feel like even myself, I romanticized a type of man for so long. And as soon as I let that shit go, other things happened. So maybe he is short, maybe he is bald, maybe his dick is tiny. But honestly, like they say, it's about the motion of the ocean, not the size of whatever. And then for men, I think it's going to take on both sides, understanding that this woman isn't just saying body positivity all the time just to, sugarcoat what she's going through or to give herself an excuse. She's saying it because there's something that she needs your help with. And on both sides, I feel like, though, for women, a lot of it is more image based on what images we see out there versus men. You become a list. Men become a list at all times. He can't, like you said, he can't be short, he can't be fat, he can't, all these things. So I think that's the difference. And I think that it all just takes understanding and just really knowing what and who you're getting involved with.
So I was clipping it up and I came across this. Well, no, actually last night I came across this picture right here. That ain't nobody. That ain't body positivity. Men don't get body positivity.
Yes, they do.
Come on now. They ain't gonna nobody mess with the man on the right. Nobody ain't saying, oh, he's
I dated the man on the right before.
no. Listen, I'm talking about society. He's comfortable in his own skin. Listen, have you heard this about men? Oh, he's comfortable in his own skin. Who you hear about?
No.
He's
well,
so
no. Okay, so I'm gonna say most of the time that's a no. But I have heard women say, yeah, I've heard that similar phrases, not those exact words, but similar phrases in regards to women talking about Rick Ross. But I'm talking about Rick Ross before he lost all that weight. I'm talking about
millions of dollars. You talking about
right, which is where I was about to go with this next.
All right, cool.
Is that men are allowed to have body positivity? Because you remember how he was heavy and he used to walk around with his shirt off in his music videos.
They talked about that.
It comes with money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It comes with money. You can be short if you have money.
JD.
You can be unattractive if you have money.
Mm-hmm.
The more money you have, the more women will kind of take a step back from their physical ideas of what they're attracted to.
Flavor of Love. That told it all right there. Flavor of Love. When that reality show came out, that was a perfect example of what men have to deal with and how women treat men based on whether they have money or not.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Because people were willing to fall in love with Flavor Filet just because of the money that they thought he was going to get from that show. And it's not just money. Men with power.
Power.
The more power they have, the more women will roll back on their list in terms of what a guy has to have in order to be with them. So that's the way that it works. I mean, I just think guys don't like that, but that's the reality of the situation.
And that's why a lot of men are angry because you're talking about maybe 3 or 4% of men that's going to be in that category that could be ugly, short, fat, whatever, little dick energy, and they ain't gonna call it out. You have to have a normal amount of money, so that's the bad part about it.